Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and my blog is QBsQuest.com. And today is Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. And if you've never heard of this before, we also have a Facebook group for that, and you can join us and you can copy a card and share your card with us on our Facebook group. And I hope you'll do that, because I think this is one of the best exercises that you can do to expand your creativity in card making, is to copy other people's cards. And it's really cool to see how everyone can take that original card and change it into something that is their own. Good morning, Kristen. I'm so glad you're here, and I see a few of you popping on. This morning is super bright. We had snow yesterday in the Boston area, and the white reflection off the snow makes this room really, really bright this morning. So that's kind of nice, and I saw the sun peeking out just for a little bit. So I'm glad that today's going to be a bright day, because yesterday we had a lot of rain and snow. Good morning, Alita and Marty. Glad you're here. So I want to share with you what today's card is. And let's pull that up right here. Here it is. It's this beautiful thistle card. I do not have the thistle bundle yet. So, but I love these big, beautiful thistles, even though I wouldn't want to pick them because thistles are thorny, right? But it's a beautiful card, and I'm going to show you how I translated this card into my own. This card is great for like big elements, or I also created a scene on my card. So it's good for big stamps, it's good for scenes. It's also good if you have some pretty designer series paper you want to show, maybe with just by stamping a greeting on it. So there's lots of different options for this type of a layout. This card is on page 76 of the mini catalog if you want to look it up. And here is our sketch. So there is a diagonal piece of paper going across the back, and I'll show you how I made that when I do my card. But basically it's a pretty easy sketch, because you've just got the base card, you've got that angled layer, and then you've got one focal point layer. So hopefully it will be easy for you too, and I hope you like my card today. I'm going to share that with you. Good morning, Ellie. All right, here is my card for today. Look at this. Today's a good day. I love that greeting. Isn't that cute? Well, I created a scene with the On the Farm stamp set, and I just love how it turned out. So fun. And I'm using the On the Farm bundle, and I'm using the celebration paper that matches. Now, this paper can only be earned free with a $50 order. You can choose this one for free, and it matches the On the Farm bundle. In fact, this cow right here can be cut out with the die from the bundle. So that's kind of cool that there's certain images that you can cut right out of the paper. And it's lovely farm theme. There's neutral sides, and then there's patterns. So we've got the cow, and then we've got that kind of a plaid check. We've got this side, and then we've got that side. We've got this, and kind of a neutral. Look at those cute little ducks and ducklings. We've got that side. We've got a big scene page that you could actually frame. This is a 12 by 12. And look at that, some farm vegetables and a neutral on the back side. So this is a really cool paper. If you like to make cards, this is good for the spring, and it's, good for farm type cards. So fun. So what else can I tell you about this card? Oh, before I forget, I always forget to show the inside of my card. I just used a tiny bit of paper down here at the bottom for the inside. So I thought that was kind of fun that you can just add a little paper wherever you want. This greeting on the inside comes from another stamp set from Charming Sentiments. I used the greeting right there. But the main thing I used on the front of this card was On the Farm bundle, and that has a stamp set and it has a die set, lots of cute little silhouette shapes. It's got this to kind of create a landscape, just a lot of fun things for building farm scenes. And you can build it small or large, but this one I did a full farm scene. So I am going to show you how I made this card from start to finish. So first of all, I start off with a card base, and I'm using Pear Pizzazz cardstock here. And this measures 11 inches by 4 1/4, and I scored it in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. Fold it and use your bone folder to smooth that down. So I've already got this angled piece here because when I created this one right here, I created a second one. So I'll show you how to create that one, how you can do 2 pieces in one go. So let me just really quickly show you how I did that. So you will take your designer series paper, make sure it's 4 1/4 inches by 4 inches, 4 1/4 by 4. The 4 1/4 inch side should be facing you, okay? So with the 4 1/4 inch side facing you, make a mark 1 1/4 inches up from the bottom on the left side, just on the edge, and then 1 1/4 inches down from the top on the right side. Doesn't have to be exact, but close to it. And then just draw a pencil line. And now what you would do is you would take your trimmer and you would cut on that line. And that gives you 2 pieces of designer series paper that are exactly or close to exactly the same size. And so then you have 2 pieces. That's how I got the second piece for this card. Now, this landscape, this one I think is right side up, and this one's going to be upside down, but it matches the hills right here. But because it's kind of generic looking, I don't think it really matters. So, I mean, I could use the side, but then I would have to use it up at the top because I've got it going in the opposite direction. So for this one, I think it's fine to use it upside down because we're just showing just a little tiny bit of it. All right, so I'm going to just adhere this to the bottom because this is in the background. And just adhere it down right at the very bottom. Okay, press down. All right, so now the easy part of the card is done, and now we'll get to the whole scene. So let's set this aside for a moment, and you're going to need a piece of basic white paper that measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And if for any reason you don't remember these dimensions, I also have these dimensions over on my blog written down right above the supply list so that you can grab them right from there. Okay, so I'm just using a little tiny piece of scrap paper because I'm going to need it for when I do some blending, and I'm going to need it when I stamp. Maybe it might come off the edge a bit. So I'm going to be using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This is the only, well, actually I shouldn't say it's the only ink pad. It's what I'm going to stamp all of my images in. So we've got this stamp with the hills. So the reason I decided to stamp in this top third area is if you've ever heard anything about the rule of thirds. So you want to have your horizon when you take a photo or when you're creating a scene. It always looks better if you have your horizon in the top third or the bottom third of the card rather than just putting it right through the center of the card. This also gives you lots of space to add things in your scene, so that's really a good thing. So because we're filling more of the land than the sky, I decided to put my hills in the top third. So we'll just kind of come along here, and I'm going to put one hill coming like this. The next hill, I'm going to kind of have it kind of coming off like right here. Okay. And then this one, I'm just going to put down right here. Okay. So I've just kind of created like a little scene with the hills. All right. So now we also want to add on this background piece, everything else is going to be stamped. I want to add some grass for the cow to feed on. So I'm going to put some grass here, maybe some about here, and then some at the back right there. All right. Okay, we're going to set this aside for a moment. I'm going to show you how I did the blending. So I'm going to start off with my Pear Pizzazz ink pad. And I've got a blending brush that I'm just using in Pear Pizzazz ink. There's a little hair on my thing. I'm just going to grab it off before I transfer it onto my card. Okay. It has decided it wants to stay on my ink pad. I'm trying to flick it off with, I'm just using the edge of a piece of paper. I can see it, it's gradually coming off, but it just wants to hang. Okay, now it's off. Okay, I just used like the edge of a paper to do that. Okay, so now I'm inking up my blending brush on here. I want to take some of the strength of the ink off before I start. Oh, and the little hair, it ended up on my card, but we're going to blend right over top of that. So when you're blending a big area, you want to probably start off on the edge and then blend on to the paper. And we're going to blend a little bit up into the hills, but we're going to come back in and we're going to add more green and a different green in a moment. So we'll add a little bit more green where there's grass. And I'm trying to stay underneath the hills, the top of the hills, because I don't want to go beyond the top of the hill because that's going to be where my sky is. So I'm just kind of keeping it below that. And you can work on this as much as you want, as little as you want. It can be very subtle, it can be a little darker. Just adding a little bit more green where my grass is. Okay, so that's all there is to blending. And then I'm going to come in with Garden Green. And we do have small, these are the regular blending brushes I'm using. We do have small blending brushes now, but I neglected to order them. So instead we're going to use sponge daubers, which also work really well in small spaces. I have yet to try out the small blending brushes. They may have worked really well for this hill area that I'm about to do here, but I don't know yet. So, well, the new small blending brushes are in the mini catalog. So I'm just going to come in very lightly and just add Garden Green to the hills, because I just want to create some sort of contrast. I'll leave a little of that lighter green in the valley. Just want to create kind of a differentiating look from the hills to the field. And the sponge daubers just kind of give you just a little bit of room to do that. Okay. All right, one more thing we want to do is add some sky. Doesn't look like much right now, but it will look really good at the end. Okay, so I've got a blending brush that I'm just using with Balmy Blue. And now I'm just going to lightly come in and add some blue to the sky. This is actually kind of fun. You don't have to go all the way down to the hills. It doesn't hurt to have a little bit of white separation because it actually looks pretty good to do it that way. Okay, that is my background scene. And now we need to do some stamping and onto cardstock. I decided not to color. I decided to use the color of the cardstock to do some stamping. So I've got Real Red for the barn, I've got Smoky Slate for the silo, I've got So Saffron for the hay bales, and I've got White for the cow. So we'll just start off by, let's set this aside just a little bit so we have some room. Got the cow. We'll stamp the cow down here. And we're going to stamp, I've got the silo next here. Stamp the silo. Stamp the barn. And we need some hay bales. Okay, I think we've got all the pieces that we're going to die cut. And we're going to be using the mini machine today. Some people like to call it the Mini Boss. And this is the new boho colored mini machine, which you can only get on the starter kit. And if you have the mini machine and you've had problems with it because of the sandwich, if you have difficulty running it through, I'm here to tell you that there is a way to get it through without any problems at all. So I talk about this every single time because when I first got my original white one, I was having issues with it. And actually, ironically, my boho blue one works perfectly with the original sandwich, but my other one did not. So if your machine is really tight, you've got two different plates. You've got the number 1 plate that, sorry, I'm gonna mute my phone. The number 1 plate, which is the original plate that you're supposed to use with using die cuts, and you've got your number 3 plate, which is supposed to be used for embossing folders. Well, the white one is just a little bit thicker than the number 3 one. So if your dies are having trouble getting through with the original sandwich, just switch to the number 3 plate and it will work a whole lot better. But my blue machine seems to work fine with the original sandwich, so that's what I'm going to use. But if you're having problems with your machine, please try it with the number 3 plate. It comes with the machine, so nothing else you need to buy. You just need to switch out your plate and it should work a little better for you. Okay, so this machine can be gotten on the $129 starter kit. And for that $129, you'll get this machine plus $175 worth of your choice of product and this machine. So like it's a lot. You get a lot for your $129. You get $175 worth of product and this machine. So it's a super good deal right now. Okay, we're going to do some die cutting. I'm going to show you how you do that. So you're going to put your base plate, either the number 1 plate or the number 3 plate, depending on your machine. And I'm still waiting for this machine maybe to start being tighter again, and maybe I have to switch to the number 3 plate, but so far it's working fine with the regular plate. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of this labeling and cover up tape just to hold my die in place as it goes through. I find it's easier to die cut standing up, so let me do that. I'm just going to take this, going to surround my cow, do a quick glance to make sure I can see the whole cow all the way around, plop that down, grab my second clear plate, and let's run this through. Okay, maybe it is finally being difficult on me. Let me see if it will run through. It's gotten arcing in the other way. And if it is, we'll go, oh no, okay, it's fine. It's still fine. And I don't have to stagger my plates at all. I just had, the way my plate was facing, it was kind of bowing up a little bit on the other side. So just by flipping it, it went through better. Okay, there's the cow. Get rid of this. We're gonna slide this back, and now we're gonna do the bales of hay. So we'll do this first one first. This mini machine is great for on the go because, let's angle it this way, because it's small, it's light, and it's compact. You can fold it up. Let's slide this back. I like to work from left to right, but the mini machine actually goes in both ways. Okay, let me pop that little piece of tape back down. You see, I'm reusing that tape a few times before I have to discard it. All right. Okay, we're done with the bales of hay. Let's slide this back over. And now we're going to do the silo. Get the little silo die out here. Just take this. We'll pin it down with a piece of tape. And oops, I tore my tape now. I need a new piece. We'll do the last die cut, which is the little itty bitty barn. And I need another piece of this tape. And I'll just put this, just kind of surround the barn, plop that tape down, and run this through. Okay. Just very carefully peeling that tape off. Make sure I put my die back in its spot so I don't lose it. My cow back. All right, I think I've done all the die cutting that I need. You can set the mini machine aside. All right. Okay, so now we're going to color the cow. And if you wanted to, you know what I did? I colored the cow exactly like the paper colored it. So you could die cut the cow as well, which would have been the easy route, but I want to show you how to color the cow if you've used all of the cows out of your paper and you want to keep the magic going. So we're going to start off. This is the medium deep, or on the pen itself it will say SU 300, and that is the color of this Stampin' Blends. I'm just going to come in and outline all of these spots with this deep. You don't have a lot of room, so I'm just going to do all of them really quickly. I'm going to come in with Crumb Cake Dark, and I'm going to blend out. Crumb Cake Dark is just a little bit lighter than this 300 medium deep color. So I'm just going to come in, blend out that line. And these little spots are a lot tinier. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to take my Crumb Cake Light. Oh, actually, one more thing with the Crumb Cake Dark, just hit the snout of the cow. And then with the Crumb Cake Light, the bullet tip, I'm going to just work a little shading down on the underbelly and the backs of the legs of this cow. I'm going to go on to the udder. Come down. Just shade the backs of the legs. Okay. All right. And that's basically all there is to it. And I think it, where's my cow? Let me pull out my cow. You can comparison. So there's the cow I colored, and there is the cow on there. So pretty close in getting it looking like a real cow. All right, let's bring back in our layer right here. And so now one other thing we want to stamp, I want to stamp this little greeting on here. Today is a good day. I worked a little bit earlier on making sure this was going to be straight. I aligned the top of my block. I'm going to stick. The top of my block has to be straight, and then this should work. Should hopefully be straight. Yes, pretty good, huh? So today is a good day. Now, if you were worried about getting your image straight, a couple of things. Do your stamping before you do all that blending in case you make a mistake. Or the other thing that is really popular right now is stamping a greeting and cutting around the letters, just kind of following the line of the letters. So if you make a mistake, you can always stamp on a scrap piece of paper and cut it out and glue it right down there, because that is actually a look right now. People are actually doing it on purpose. So you can just say that you're being trendy. Okay, so we're going to start gluing all of these pieces. So it's kind of a good idea maybe just to like arrange things how you will want it first, so that you kind of have, an idea of where everything is going to go. All right, so let's start off with the cow. Okay, and I'm kind of anchoring the cow down here. That looks good. need a little bit of room for my bales of hay in it, because I also want to put a flower on there afterwards, so gotta give myself a little room. Okay, and then we'll add the silo in the background first. And then we'll add the barn. So I did have a little help with my sample. I want to show you how I got the idea for this layout, because there is a sample at the back. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let me go one more page. Okay, here it is. So this sample right here is one of the reasons I chose to put my barn where I did, right up at the top. So you can definitely, use the samples in the catalog to help you, design things. Of course, my card looks different in the end, but you can see the barn placement. I just happened to flip to that page and I was like, oh, that's kind of a good way to kind of anchor my whole picture. Okay, so now we're going to bring in the card base. And we'll adhere it centered on the front right here. And you can't go too wrong by centering something. You just make sure that it has about the same distance on all four sides. We're just going to add a few little details to this card. Number one, we're going to I tied a little linen thread bow earlier, and I'm just going to put like a glue blob right there. I know some people would use a mini glue dot, but you know what? I am very fond of using glue with twine. I feel it sticks pretty well. I feel it actually sticks better than mini glue dots. I just like to hold my finger on the spot for just a few seconds and just press down to kind of give that a little bit of, so it's going to stick. All right, and I am going to grab my loose daisies. I finally get to use these. I'm so happy. These were actually my gift to customers for placing an order with me in December. If they didn't I had another special going too. This was one of the specials, so this is a good way to use your loose daisies. And I'm using the little yellow daisies this time because they pop a little bit on the card. So I'm just using a tiny bit of glue to pin these down. And the reason the grass is where it is because I kind of wanted these little daisies to be surrounding the cow like that. And I think I got all the elements from the original card onto this card right here. Okay. And then on the inside, and just so you know, this layer is cut the same as this layer, 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And I won't stamp this right now, but this is the stamp I used, wishing you the happiest of birthdays. And then this layer is 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. And the reason I like to stamp my greeting near the top, I could have centered it, which is what most greeting cards do, but I usually like to start off by writing the person's name, and then I like to write something under the main greeting. So this is personalized to the way I like to write my cards, because probably I'm going to be the one giving this card. But you may want to put it centered on your card. especially if you're selling them. It probably looks better to be in the center, but logically, the way you write cards, I think it's better to put it near the top. So that is how I did it. And I love having a little peek of that paper down at the bottom. It's such fun paper. But look at that. Didn't those turn out super cute? I don't do scene cards a lot, so I was really pleased with how these turned out and how the blending turned out. Like it wasn't hard. You saw how little I had to work on that, just doing the bottom, like 3 different colors, and it looks pretty good in my opinion, considering I don't often do that. So I'm proud sometimes of my art that I create, and this one I'm quite proud of because it's not one of my typical cards. All right, I'm coming back over to you, and I just want to let you know that I'll also have a host code going. If you are wanting to place an order to get any of the products I talked about today, use this host code, spend $50. You can choose that beautiful Day at the Farm paper from Stampin' Up, but you'll also get a gift from me, and that paper is the Flowers and More paper. This is a sampler, a 6x6 sampler. It has these gorgeous patterns on this one side, and then it has more neutral patterns on the backs. Just very, very pretty paper. This paper will be sent out in February if you purchase $50 using the host code right there on the screen. This is a January 2023 host code, and I'll have a new one again in February with a different gift. So just make sure you use the correct code for each month. All right. The starter kit special. If you haven't already gotten the starter kit, it is such a good deal. If you don't want a mini machine, there's also the $99 starter kit, and that will get you $175 worth of product. So just like think about it, like you're spending $99, you get $175 worth of product. So that's like getting $76 worth of product for free. And your starter kit will ship for free. So it is a great deal. If you have any questions about the starter kit, please reach out to me. I'd love to answer your questions. I also have more information up on my blog. There is the link if you want to take a look. Go to cubiesquest.com/join, and I have a lot of information on there. And then if you have questions, there's a link to click on to contact me or leave me a comment below. I'm not trying to hide anything, so I'll be happy to answer your question right in the comments as well. So I put the information out there. It's just sometimes like too much information is like a lot of information. So you don't need to know the whole ins and outs of the starter kit when you start out, because the starter kit is just about getting a good deal on Stampin' Up! Products, because once you get the starter kit, you also get a discount on future orders. And your starter kit or your demonstratorship, you don't have to do classes. You can be a hobby demo, but it renews every 3 months if you spend the minimum amount or sell the minimum amount. Either way, you get to keep on going. And if you don't do that, then you just drop. And so there's like no penalty. You don't have to send back your starter kit. It is just the way that Stampin' Up! Demonstratorship works. So, and you also get to join my Bee Stampers team if you get the starter kit. And that is a great way to be more connected with other stampers. We've got a Facebook group. We have regular events and everything. It's a wonderful, sweet team that we have, and I hope you'll want to be a part of it. All right, enough talking. I'm going to read some of your comments and say hello to you. And let me start at the beginning. I already said hello to Kristen, Alita, and Marty, and Ellie. Kristen says she loves the cow in the barn. Marty said, can the sheep and pig dies cut out the animals on the paper like the cow? Well, I don't know because I haven't played with this enough, but let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let me bring out the paper. So there's two sheets of this paper that come in that pack. So let's have a look. So we've got the little piggies here. So look, yeah, we can cut out the piggies. Let's see. So we can cut out the sheep. So very cool. And of course the cow. And I think also, let's see, do the flowers cut out? Okay, is this, I want to say, is this the flower? Okay, you got the flower. And then if you want to get even more detailed, we can do the little leaf. So basically everything on this page can be die cut out with one of the on the farm die. So that's a really good question, Marty. I'm so glad you asked it because I wasn't even thinking that I should didn't even think about talking about that. But yes, everything on this page can be cut out, and then everything else, these trees do not match these trees. I'm trying to think. These do not have a die cut. This one is a separate die cut here. I think that's all that can be die cut out of here. Just peeking through here. Yeah, because the rest is vegetables. But both of these pages that look like this can be die cut completely. Great question. All right, good morning, Betty from Oregon. Betty said, beautiful blending. Well, thank you. I don't blend very often, so I want you to know how easy this is because I am no blending expert. It's just a couple tips. Just make sure you blend off on the side a little bit so you don't have that big blob, that strong blob, and then start blending off. If you're actually doing right from the side, start blending off the side and move in, and you should be good. And practice. Practice does help. But truly, I have not done a ton of blending. So it's really easy to do. It's not a hard skill to pick up. Betty says she loves the boho blue mini. I do too. It's kind of fun to look at after having just the standard weight machine for a while. Marty says when she lived in the country, her farmer neighbor made hay bales like that out of your field. Oh, that's cool. The bales are huge and he used them to feed his cows. Yeah, and I actually yesterday I had to look up images of bales of hay. When they're out in the field and they roll them up, they're not together. They're not usually stacked up together. They're like, there's one here, there's one here. So I tried to do that on my card. I didn't have a lot of space, but I tried to keep them separated because I didn't want them to look like they were like stacked. Maybe I don't know if you stack them when you move them, but out in the field, I think you keep them separated. So I always am looking at images when I'm creating designs. If I want something to look natural, I take a look at some Google images to see how things are in real life. It's really helpful. Betty says she likes how I did some of my smaller images on colored cardstock so I didn't have to color them. Yeah, cheater tip. Because this card had a lot of little pieces on it. So I thought that would cut down on some of my coloring time. Kristen said, am I seeing the die set has little animal die cuts? Pigs and ducks. So cute. Yes, it does. It's got little silhouettes of cows. There's a little bunny, 2 pigs, a duck, and some ducklings to add on there. Those make really cute silhouette cards. They didn't make it onto my card today because there was a lot going on. And but definitely I've seen some really cute ones with the duck and ducklings following behind. It's a very cute set. Good morning, Karen. No worries about being late. I know I'm not always on time either. Marty says she loves those daisies and the dark green background works upside down. Yeah. And she put the upside down smiley face. Yeah, you can't even tell that. I can't tell. This one was the one that was upside down. You can't really tell that it's upside down because it's just kind of a tone on tone background, this background paper. So for that one, it doesn't matter. It might matter for some of the other ones, but I didn't want to use a really busy paper in the background of this anyway because there was so much going on in my focal point. If you have lots of stuff going on in your background paper too, you'll barely be able to see it and it will compete with your main card. So there's a good reason to choose a more neutral pattern for the backside. But that's why I also did a little fun scrap of the paper on the inside because I wanted to show off the fun paper. And that's a good place to put it. All right. Marty says she loves that birthday sentiment. That stamp set is great. It is. I love it too. Charming sentiments. And you know, this is the one when I was talking about cutting around a greeting, this one actually has matching dies that cut around greetings like this. And so you can definitely do that naturally cutting out, but this die set actually has that where you can cut around your greeting and you don't have to do it all yourself. Marty says it's a great card. Thank you. Hi, Pam from North Carolina. Glad to see you here. Marty said her hay bales weren't stacked. They were about 5 to 6 feet tall. Wow, that's so cool. It probably smelled really good out on the field too, like that grassy smell probably would give me, probably would make me sneeze, but you know, there's something about that smell of fresh cut grass or fresh cut hay, you know, that smell, that kind of grassy sort of smell that would definitely be a farm smell, a good farm smell, because there's some farm smells that aren't so good. All right, everyone. It was so good to see you this morning. I hope to see you on Friday. I'll be live on YouTube at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, so I hope you will join me then. Let me know if you have any questions about anything today. The supply list is down below. You'll find a lot of information if you click on See More in the description of my video. There's a lot of information in there. I try and give you that so it will answer some of your questions, but if you don't have your question answered by that, please let me know. I'd love to help out. All right, I hope to see you guys on Friday. Bye-bye.